Select Board meeting for Monday, December 9th at 5 p.m. Could we stand for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We'd like to open up the tax classification hearing. I don't know if we need a motion to do that.
Motion to open the hearing. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, Emily, you're on.
Okay. All right, so packet here in front of you, if you go to the first page, it's our LA4 comparison. It compares all of our total parcels. So which mostly stayed the same. We had a little bit of a decrease in our vacant land. Just some parcel changes, parcels being combined together. Shows you the values, what went up, what went down. If you want the total, we're going to go to page 3, and there are double-sided. Page 3 gives you the total value of all the classes together, which is $259,371 million, and that puts us up about $9 million.
Oh, wow.
And then if you want to, it gives you all of last year's information also.
Yep.
So the next page is shifting the tax rate. It shows you that 95.7% residential makes up Clarksburg, and then 4.3% makes up commercial. And that's commercial, industrial, and personal property together.
Okay.
This is where I'm kind of going to skip around a little bit. Well, we have the levy limit. So the levy limit tells you what our levy ceiling is, which we're not close to, so that's good. Our maximum allowable levy is $2,307,000. And we're going to skip to the tax rate recap. You're going to pass the little chart and then do this. Up at the top of this page, it tells you the total amount to be raised, so that's the budget that was approved.
Okay.
The total estimated receipts and other revenue sources that we've taken in, and then the tax levy that we still need to raise. So, and then if you go back to the chart that you had, when we take that tax levy and we plug it in, it gives us a tax rate of $13.58.
That sounds good. Now, people's evaluations have gone up.
That is correct.
So with the tax rate going down, it'll probably, how would the average tax person make out on this? Are they going to find an increase in taxes or decrease?
I believe most of Clarksburg is going to find an increase.
Okay. I just want to...
Any ballpark estimates or no?
I'm not getting this.
That's fine.
That's
Just want to
mistake on my part.
be prepared for that, because last time people look at the rate, oh, it went down, but
Yeah.
technically...
Of course, if they don't agree with their value, they can always file for an abatement. They have until February 1st.
Okay.
So then when you take the tax rate and you plug it into the tax rate recap, that was that page where we got the levy. It gives you a rough idea. It just kind of like shows you what it would look like, how much each class is going to bring in for revenue.
Okay. And that 2.271 million, how does that compare to the present? Is that up a lot?
That's just what we need to bring in.
Oh, that's what we need to bring in?
Yes.
I got you. Okay. Nice report. You're doing a great job, and thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, the next two pages kind of give you an idea of what has been brought in.
So this kind of based on what's going for for FY '25 to date, kind of, from just
Yeah, it shows
first,
you, it should show you FY '24. Also, what we brought in for FY '24, and then what's estimated, because FY '25 is not finished, so based on other revenue sources, this is what we should be bringing in.
Okay. Well, make a motion to accept the tax rate?
Make a motion to accept the tax rate as proposed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Emily, need anything else from us? Thank you for all of your work on this, we really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're doing a great job.
Got your extra couple minutes.
Hey, Chuck. Okay, so now we have to come out of the tax classification hearing.
Make a motion to come out of the tax classification hearing.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, next on the agenda is I ran into Tom Bona, and I was telling him the situation we're in, that we have to have a full board of assessors in order for the state to accept our tax rate and everything. So he just retired and he's got a lot on his plate and wants to get settled down, but he asked questions about it. And I told him that it wasn't a lot of time, but that it was really necessary. So he was here in Town House and went to Maryland, and we want to appoint Tom Bona as to be on the Board of Assessors.
I make a motion to approve, to appoint Tom Bona to the Board of Assessors.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next, Ron, we're going to interview you for the position of Town Administrator. So, as you know, I know you've been around in politics for a long time, and you know the situation we have. I guess, first of all, would you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want this position?
Well, I've been in politics 23 plus years. Originally got into it, so I was interested in helping people, trying to make a little bit of a difference. And over the years, you'll learn a lot. I've enjoyed my time. I chaired different committees in North Adams. I was on the chair of finance. I was chair of public safety, public services. I also was the city council president for 2 years. I ran for mayor, got beat. But, and then when I moved here, I got appointed to the finance committee, and I was very happy to be the chairman. So then, after that, I got elected to the select board, and I got elected twice, so I was running chairman for 3 years, or longer, about 3 years. Then, in between, Carl stepped down, so basically, I was stuck pretty much running the town for 8 months. So I understand the intricacies of this town, what it takes. You need an individual, let me just say this. You need an individual that's going to be out and about, out in front of people, maximizing the resources. You've got to be connected to different people in the state now. They're not going to come here. They got to know you're here and what you want to do. So basically you say to yourself, well, hey, we're open for business. This is what we need. This is what we have to do. But, again, I was on that side of the table. The important part of being the town administrator is you're the salesman of this town. You go out, and how do you present yourself to individuals? First impressions are lasting, let's face it. It's always been that way. You only get one shot sometimes. And I think my years of being in politics, I've gotten to have a lot of relationships I've formed over the years. Now, are they as tight as they used to be? Do they been away from it a little bit? No, but I still have those relationships. I can call John Barrett, and hey, John, give me your thoughts on this. I have that ability. I can reach out to a number of people in the area to get help. I've never been afraid not to reach out. Like I said, I maximize my resources at all times. The job I have now, I travel. I deal with corporate people all the time. I have a book of business that's $10 million. So it's twice the size of his budget in this town. Okay, so I deal with CEOs, I deal with all kinds, head purchasers, I have to put proposals together. I have got to sell myself and sell my company. Now, going back to your original question, why do I want to be in charge here? So there's always been that little burning desire. The first time when Carl left, I wanted to apply for the job, but I wasn't allowed to. But I think I have the time, and I have the driven ability, because you got to change the course of how Clarksburg is. Because all I ever hear about Clarksburg, oh, we're poor, we don't have any money. That's BS in so many ways. Because you've got to change that narrative, and you've got to be aggressive. You got to be able to go after the grants. You got to sell yourself, and I think I can do that for the, I know I can do that for the town. I do it each and every day of my life. I live here, and we're home here. There's a lot of things that need to be addressed though along the way. There's things that get put off to the side, but eventually you've got to address things. You know, if you look at the school's always been a constant issue. That's got to be looked at. It's not going away. Every day that goes by, that roof gets a little more, everything gets worn. It's got to be addressed. I saw the bridge on the way down here, Crossroads. I understand what legitimately something has to be done, or something get in motion. I don't know if stuff's in motion. I really don't. But, you know, and you look at our budget, I think it's what, 1.1, 5.1, 5.2?
Yep.
Somewhere, and what, over half of it is the school.
Yeah, 60%.
So, you know, I had a great working relationship with John Franzoni, was chair. Some of the things, you know, we used to have conversations about it. Well, got tired of the teachers' retirement, great. When you hire a new one, hire at the low level. Well, what do? They brought in top-end teachers, okay? So, I just think, when I first came here, there was that divide. I don't know if it's still there or not. You know, it was there, it was there, you know, and you need to work together on things to make better. You know, I was thinking today, I was driving back, when I was chairman of the select board, not that it wasn't about me, but I put that debt exclusion borrowing together for $1 million. I put the PowerPoint together, we held a meeting at Clarksburg School, and I told them, I'm going to give you the good, the bad, the ugly. It's totally up to you how you want to do it. But we can get $1 million over a 5-year period. I think that's off the books now, I would think. And what we did with that is $500,000 went to the school, we put new boilers in, we did a bunch of other stuff at the school, up at the DPW, we got some equipment out of that, we did some good things. But those are the things we got to look at, but you got to, in retrospect, you got to sort of try to keep a conscience on, you got an older community here, right? People are set, you know, their fixed incomes and everything else, but we got to find ways outside of that to make it grow. It's not, I wouldn't say it's not rocket science, but what are you guys looking for your next town administrator? You have an idea what you're looking for?
Do you want the first name or quarter?
Yeah, I mean, if we're, you know, looking for someone that's gonna keep us going in a positive direction, I agree that, you know, positive attitude goes a long way. You just have to battle. And, no, I agree with you, you know, the school definitely needs addressing. It's not going anywhere. I mean, that's a big part of why people move to Clarksburg is they want their kids in the school. That's where property values are high. But, I mean, what we said, I mean, I feel like our thoughts on it, you know, we're hoping to find someone that will be aggressively getting grants because, you know, we can't, you know, our funds don't allow us to be paying for $1 million paving project, so grants are key.
You know, essential part.
It's key.
You know, and, you know, again, you look at all the state land, right? 54% of the state owns that land. And I don't think that equation, or that little, sort of approach, that we're still getting the same amount
Yeah,
for 20 years ago.
people are getting even more less. We're getting $31,000.
That's a major issue. It is a major issue, because we sit here, as you just told me, the real estate is going up, let's face it, right? Why doesn't our money that comes from the state change? Little things you address and you go after, but let them be known, I'm the type of individual, I wouldn't sit my rear end up in that office all day long. That's not me. I'd be out selling the town, talking to people. We got a great staff here now. And that took a long time, but we're on the right track. It's like anything else. You got to get your house in order first before you do anything else.
Well, okay, we've come a long way in the last couple of years, definitely in a positive direction. The thing that I see, and especially the last few weeks here seeing, is there's so many grants and so much going on in that office that it is so easy to get bogged down. And I just want to make sure that the person coming in realizes that sometimes it gets really overwhelming. And there's so many laws and rules and regulations, and the grants, I just went to a meeting for the Brooksville Water District, because they have a $500,000 grant on, and I mean, it's like a 7-page thing to fill out these grants, and every quarter, things have got to be done for this. And that's just what I said. I never realized how much behind-the-scenes work there is to keep these things up. The emails that come in, we got to get like 50 emails a day. There's a deadline, we have Friday, that I just found out this morning. I came in and we're trying to get for the grant for the planning board,
Master plan.
Yeah.
thank you.
You're bringing that up, that Bush Regional Plan never got back to me in reference to that, because they're a great resource.
And they help out with everything. They are terrific. I don't know where we'd be without them.
Yes.
But again, I found out today that we had to get some paperwork in by Friday, and we're working on it. But anyway, I guess my question is, how do you handle it when you come in and there is a lot of stress and there's a lot of things to do, and you're overwhelmed? You almost can't possibly do it all in one day or in one time. It's like, oh gosh.
So this is what I do each and every day. I prioritize, okay? I multitask. I make sure I get one thing done before I move on to the next, but sometimes you've got to work on multiple things. But you're not a pecking order. You just don't pull something off to the side and forget about it. You have a checklist. You stay on top of these things. You know what I mean? I love this form of government. I always said this. I was in the old form of government, where 9 city councilors basically decided what goes on. But here, the town people get to say yes or no. Okay? So you're measured every day, how you do your job. I take pride in what I do. I think I'm pretty good at it. That's just me. But I'm confident enough where if I get into something, and I may have a question, I don't know everything, but I use my resources around me to help me through. That's what you gotta be able to do. You have to multitask, prioritize. Hey, what's the most important thing on the docket today? As an administrator, I have to answer to you people. You know what I mean? That's my job. My job, you give me the job to steer a boat, right? But I gotta keep it on course with you guys. We gotta work together and be open and honest. That's the biggest thing too. Honesty. Communicate. Hey, if there's something going on, you reach out to the chair or any of the members and say, hey, listen, I got this situation going on. I just want you to know about it. Well, not last minute find out about things. It doesn't work that way. Not in this type of business, because if you miss an important submission date, you're done. That's a lot of money. So again.
Yeah, and the other thing that we can in the last year, we have a full finance committee. Chuck is the chairman of the finance committee. And I guess the key that I see to it is, I agree with you, communication is not only a big thing with all boards, but also with the employees here, making sure things are done properly and correct and whatever. And I know you're a good communicator, but there is a lot of that'll be going on.
That has to be. You got to be in tune with every office in this building. make sure everybody's on the same page, everything's going right. You can't, there's a lot to do.
There's a lot to do.
There is. There's a lot of responsibility.
And I'd say it's so easy to get overwhelmed, and my favorite saying was always, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
That's all you can
And
do.
it's got me, that saying's got me through a lot of tough things, because I'm a Mass DOT, I get bogged down and just one bite at a time, so.
Yeah, that's all you can do. But you gotta stay in that direction, though. You gotta have a course, you chart, and you gotta follow it. It's like, it doesn't matter if you're a town administrator or what I do or anybody does, you still have to set a goal to get where you wanna get. You're done.
No, I think between the questions you guys have asked and some of the answers Ron's given so far, I think it pretty much covers the majority of, I think, our concerns. And I think, like I said, communication is the key. Sometimes it might not be the answer that we want to hear, or what we're looking for, but I go off this premise. I just keep things open, keep them transparent. We're working together collaboratively, working with the great office staff we have here. It's to continue, I think, as a well-oiled machine. You need a good.
It's not I, it's we.
Exactly.
You understand? You're only as good as the people that support you. And it's really true. Very, very true. And you can teach and say, oh, I did this, or I did this, like earlier I said about the antenna solution. But no, it's true. You're only as good as the people you surround you by. You want to work together. You're a team, right?
Right.
Basically.
I did like the answer, I think, in regards to, because I agree, quite extensively on the fact that it's good to be out there. You're there to sell the town. Not to say that, there's not going to be days where you're bogged down in the office or season, but from my perspective, it's relationships. It's just getting out there, having those conversations. Yeah, granted, trust me, I travel to Boston usually once a week, if not sometimes more. It's not the funnest ride, but I hate to say it, that's where the majority of the action happens. So, yeah, there's going to be times in necessity to travel out to Boston. Yeah, it's part of the job. It's part of the detail. But to get things accomplished, like you say, we're not a town that's producing a massive amount of tax revenue that we can self-fund a lot of these projects and initiatives. We really do rely heavily on state funding and state aid. And for us to expand that pool, I think, as wide as possible to kind of address those needs is obviously the direction we need to head in.
Yeah, you do. It's putting the plan together, acting on that plan, following it through. Because like you said, Bob, it's easy to get off track. Just got to have that laser focus where this is what we need to get done. And I have a thing, an easel board I use all the time, and that's how I keep myself organized. People, that's old school. I said it works for me.
Yeah.
A lot of people use their phones or whatever, but that's what I do. Because I know it's done. I can check it off. It's done. I don't have to worry about it. And I like to have everything organized, orderly. I hate mess, clutter. I like things organized. When people come to this town, and you go into the town administrator's office, you want to be proud to let them in there and see, hey, in a situation where everything's organized, it's neat, you get work done. I'm not picking at anybody about that, it's the truth. Image, I said that earlier, so important.
Absolutely.
The other thing I want to talk about a little bit was that with them, even when I was a selectman back in the 90s, it was always, should we hire a grant writer? Because, like I say, grants are where we are. And I'm just going to give you my opinion over the last few years. Because of the one-step program and because of Berkshire Regional Planning helping us out, I feel that the town administrator, that's going to be their prime objective, is to get these grants, which is a lot of work. But, and where I have a problem with a grant writer is they come in and get the grants, but then you have to follow through. And that's where the work is. Like I say, that's where the forms are. That's where you have to go out and do that. And it's like, I feel it's a waste of money, because I feel we have the ability now, because the state's made it easier to get these grants. There's still a lot of work at maintaining them and to follow them up, because It's just a lot of work to keep track of everything that goes on in these grants.
That green initiative grant we had,
Yeah.
there was a lot of follow-through back then, you know? It's just, you got the money, you gotta spend it.
Yeah.
And utilize it for what it was taken for.
Yeah, you got deadlines to meet and things like that. So my question is, Ron, I'm not sure if you had any experience in writing grants or anything.
I've done some, and again, if I have a question,
Yep.
I reach out. It's like anything else, Bob, like, the more you do something, the better we know that. You know, I've done voting this before, and I'll be honest with you, I said, even back when I was a selectman, I said, this town, what it really needs is a full-time grant writer. Full-time grant writer will pay for themselves if they're good, okay? I'm not trying to shut myself out, but I'm just being honest with you. You know, town like this, you got somebody good, they can write grants, they pay for themselves, they bring tons of money into this community. Now you gotta get it done. So if you just went that route, then it comes down to you guys to make sure things get into action. But you do, in some aspects, you do need to have an administrator here. Someone to basically make sure things are getting taken care of. You know, but listen, I have these ideas all the time, I think. So, I don't know if you ever thought about this. You take that position and you split it. You have a part-time town administrator, and you have a grant writer. I don't know, I'm just thinking here. You know, I'm here to talk about the town administrator's job, and I'm just being honest with you. You know what I mean? It's not a bad thought. Right?
No, so one of my questions I had, I was gonna ask you is, you know, if, you know, we haven't discussed this or made any kind of plan, but, you know, if we were to back down the hours of the town administrator job to open up for, would that be something that you would be willing to work with?
Because, listen, I live here, and you gotta try to get the biggest bang for your buck you can, okay? So I love to sit here and say, yeah, you know what, but to be honest with you guys, as a board, it'd probably be something that you should look at and maybe think about it, because your return maybe be better. And then you still have an administrator part-time that can implement and make sure things are happening. Because I know $5.2 million budget, you know, and half of it's from the school. How much, if you're on top of things, how much office hours do you need?
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
That's just something for the board to think about. As a taxpayer, you know, but give it some thought. You know, I don't know how pressed you guys are to get somebody in.
I would, from my perspective, I feel pretty strong. I think we need to move on this, I think, sooner rather than later. Just to think.
In my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth exploring and reviewing. I think in the short term, we're definitely in the position, I think at this point, to hire a full-time administrator to basically take over duties, because our current administrator's contract expires on the 27th of this month. I would not like to see any sort of long transition period.
We don't want that.
If necessary, but, so that, from my perspective, if we were to select you, how would you be available soon to start?
I'd be available to start this position. I'll be away till January 6th. That's Monday I come back on, I fly back on a Monday.
Okay.
So, the first week, second week of January, technically, right, the 7th. I could come in on the 7th. You know, and that's something you guys have to decide, but, I don't know if you have the people you have to interview or whatever you gotta do.
Yeah, I think we're going to probably at least interview a couple more candidates.
Yeah, we've got a couple more on the plate for next Monday.
Yeah, it'll be next Monday, so it'll be a couple weeks before we can actually make that decision. I lost my train of thought.
Don't ever do that.
I don't think we're not anywhere close to like making a decision of cutting back the hours of the town administrator now.
Yeah, that's all.
No,
It's something down the road.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an option down the road, I guess, you know, for whoever ends up in that seat, they kind of see, you know, what works best, and, you know, getting aggressive on the grants is definitely a key priority, so, you know, find the best way to do that, and, you know, keep the funds coming around.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember, the one thing that I remember is meetings for different northern Berkshire things around. Like you said, it's important to keep up with everything, like, there's a cable thing going on now, we're trying to get the new contract going, so I went to a meeting last week, there's a couple meetings in January. Berkshire Regional Planning, they're looking for, we have not appointed anybody yet to be on that commission. They want to have somebody that goes quarterly to the meetings that tell about the town issues. And I find that it's very difficult to find volunteers and find people to do these things. So it sort of ends up in the lap of the town administrator and the select board. So I just want to let you know that.
Yes, I
Because,
think that's important. There's certain things that need to be addressed by someone who's in charge.
yeah.
Unless, and it's great that people donate their time to different committees and stuff. But the essence of it all, it's important because it has a direct effect on the residents.
Yeah.
So you should be, as an administrator, you should be involved in this.
Yeah, like we have the MVP program, that's huge going on up there. The opioid settlement, we just decided that we're gonna pool the money with North Adams, so, one of us has gotta be on the committee for that and stuff, but, again, I guess my big thing is not to scare people, but I want people to know that there is a lot going on, and that we need to have somebody that's willing to jump in and put the time in.
I understand. I've been in this job for a long time. It's not a 9-to-5 job.
No.
You know what I mean? You're there, you represent the town.
Yep.
That's why it's just so important that I stress that, because you are the representation of the town. You have a select board, but town administrator, in most cases, people see you first, right? And how you present yourself, how you deal with things, goes along.
Absolutely.
Do you, Gary, have any more questions?
One last question I have, no, your current job, you plan on leaving that?
I've been waiting for a long time. But, yeah, they know how I am, I just hang around to be a nice guy. They can get good.
Do you have any questions for us?
No, the biggest thing for me is, what are your pressing issues right now? What are things that need to be addressed, or is everything going okay?
The pressing issues right now that I see from this last couple of weeks is that the grants we have gotten awarded, there's deadlines to make sure that we follow everything right. And of course, being a part-time selectman, I know of these things,
Yeah.
but I don't know sometimes the contacts, I don't know paperwork. Marilyn and I had to have one today where we had to put our names on it because there's nobody here that can sign off on these things. So it's just it's going to be hard for that person to first come in and say, okay, what are the deadlines coming up? Well, we got to make sure we get those.
So you can attest to this.
And
I used to sit with them before every meeting when I was council president, right?
And actually, we get permission, since people are here, I'm assuming they're here because they want to see what's going on. Would you mind if, do you have any questions? Chuck, do you have any questions on that? All right, Carla? Kelly?
I do not.
Okay, I don't, Marilyn?
No.
All right, I just wanted to make sure, I wanted to make sure.
I know Ron from way back, we worked with him for a long time.
Yeah, for a long time. You guys didn't start the budgets yet, have you? Not yet?
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
You still got Bobby around here with you, Witherell? No.
Yep. Got three, and the problem with a lot of these new committees are great people, and they're dedicated people, but they're not that experienced with this. Chuck has been on the finance committee earlier on, right, in years before. But,
It's operating different now than it was back then.
yeah, a lot different. So it's just, they're willing to do the work, but they obviously need some guidance, and
Yeah, we need direction.
we get all we can.
They still, they're sending out sheets to all departments?
Yes.
Yeah, basically,
Each department has this.
Yeah, okay. So, now I know we don't have a police department anymore.
Right.
So, part of that budget issue, do you still keep a little bit in that line item, or?
No, we're gonna have to because of the interim administrative chief position, correct?
Yes, we actually hired him back for 10 to 15 hours a week. Yeah, and he's taking care of a lot of things for us. He actually has an office per se down North Adams for certain things he has to do down there. He can't do any of the police chief duties, but he does emergency management. He'll take care of a lot of stuff. There's a lot in his office that he's got with the files and things. He's got to make sure that they get to the proper people for records, for the state police or whatever. But we are going to have to keep money in the budget for him to do that because he's a very valuable person in that. Plus, he can also help the treasurer and tax collector out on vacation because he has filled in for that before. So we are going to keep some of the money there.
We're the one ask. Another question I have for you, how did we ever make out with the fire department with the truck? I know that became an issue, they wanted a new,
We used ARPA funds.
okay.
And we were able to get a new fire truck for that. The good thing about that is whenever you have a big piece of equipment like that, you have to do a debt exclusion or whatever.
Right.
And we were able to avoid that. And I didn't know if you want to add anything.
Oh, no, ARPA funds were used for it, and
Yeah, please speak up if I ramble on.
No, okay.
All right. So that's that. And I'm just updating on a couple of projects. The bridge on Crossroad, it is on the TIP program.
Yeah.
The problem with the TIP program is it took like 5 years to get on that program. And now the program is 5 years down the road it comes up. I've been sending emails and we've been doing the best we can at trying to get that expedited. But at this point, we have not. But the last email that I sent out, the lady that's the project manager, I think got tired of me sending her emails. She passed it on to her supervisor. So I look at that as a good thing. Sometimes this week we don't get surveys. But that's where we are. So we're going to do it, and they're going to completely fund it. I was a little disappointed that I didn't think it would be as much money as it's going to be like a $6 million project. It's just a little bridge.
It's more expensive.
It does, but they came up, I have to give the state credit, I was on a Zoom meeting with like 23 people, and the head of the bridge department in Boston, they had a camera that they went down, looked at all the foundation and everything, and they were talking about how they can replace this, how they can fix this. And he finally, after like 15 minutes, he says, stop. He says, I've seen enough. He said, we're going to completely do a complete overhaul of this bridge. And the designer said, well, that's going to be over $5, maybe $6 million. He said, we got to do it right. So that's the good news. It's just that it's probably going to be another 3 or 4 years before.
That's essential.
Before
The line gets closed down.
it's not. And we have with the school, and the school roof, we keep working on it, same thing.
Where are you at with that?
We actually have a meeting on Wednesday, and Tom Bona's coming down. Tom Bona, it's just pretty much Tom right now, but when we started back 7 years ago, there was 9 people that volunteered for the renovation committee. And we've done a lot of renovations up there, put $1 million in a lot of time and sweat. But Tom's hung right with it, so he made sure that the lift was put in. We now have a lift in, so we're ADA compliant. And he got an engineer to look at the foundation and everything. So we're going to discuss it tomorrow, the Western Mass Governor's Office, and Wednesday. And we're going to see what we can do with that. But
The guy was
still trying.
$1 million, right? That was-
and our town administrator did go out and get a quote, and the quote was right around $500,000. So that's
So
still,
the whole roof
that's
is
still,
in that piece, where it has that membrane.
no, I'm not sure.
But that was a few years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure now what it's for, but anyway, that's still a good figure. So we are working on that. Like I pretty much, one of us usually at all the school committee meetings. There was a great divide back when the new school was voted down, but you're always going to have that. I mean, the school is like 60% of the budget, so it's always going to be an issue. But I feel that we have a pretty good relationship. I hope you agree, with the school and the school committee, and we're doing the best we can to make sure they know we're all in this together, they're part of the town, and doing that. So just to give you more.
We're all in the same umbrella, it's the way it should be looked at, And another thing that you mentioned earlier, and it was always a big thing when I was here, was the Briggsville Water District being a separate entity. And I know that Cleve and Carl, put a bid in, and they bought that house with the intent to tear it down and put an extra storage tank in there. So, and then they had the asbestos issue, but where's that?
We just awarded a grant for almost $500,000 over the next 3 years to upgrade the whole system, the lateral lines,
Yeah.
to put in a tank that's going to go in that property.
Yeah.
Why they wanted a tank is basically, the fire department, they get water out of the river and stuff, well, sediment comes in.
Right.
They want water that they can get out of the tank. The tank's going to hold 30 or 40,000 gallons, and they're going to be able to fill their tanker truck from that with clean, fresh water. It'll also be water in reserve for all the Bridgeville Water District. The issue's always been with the Bridgeville Water District is that it is separate from the town, and again, this has been going on for years and years and years. Half the town, like myself, we have private water wells, we have private sewer, we have to put in Title V's, we have to do that, and it's like, why should we have to do this for our town, for our water and sewer, and then pay for somebody else? It's a private line, and they have to pay. But on the other hand, there's a component of people that are involved in that. They are Clarksburg residents, so we're trying, like with this grant and things, we're trying to help out with the MVP, that's where this grant came from, to try to help them, but we can't really take it over because it's not fair to the rest of the town.
No, and that was always a big issue.
Yeah, it's a huge-
And I feel for the people on that, because I know this summer, they had issues with going dry this summer, with lack of rain and stuff like that. I don't know if they had any issues up there, but I think it was a concern. I used to get phone calls all the time. I really felt bad for the people, but it's one of those situations, if you get involved in that,
Yeah.
you open a Pandora's box, right? So, and I always heard the same reasons you just gave. Hey, we have to drill a well, or we have to do this, we have to do that. But again, that's something that needs to be addressed, I imagine, eventually. It's,
Yeah, we need to keep talking about, but anyway, they did get a $500,000 grant that's going to do that. So, and that's another thing that the new administrator is going to have to, even though it's a private system, the grant is through the MVP,
Right.
which is really the town doing this, so it's a gray area. And that's what,
it's a tough area, it's something you gotta be careful.
and that's what, and I don't know, being just a part-time selectman, I'm not sure what our duties are versus their duties and how we're gonna handle all this. The good thing is, Berkshire Regional Planning said they would be there with us the whole way.
Yeah, they're great,
So,
they're great.
they're great.
They don't do it for nothing, but they're great, they're great resources.
terrific, so.
And, especially a small town like this, you can really lean on them a little bit.
Yeah.
For some extra help.
So that's to give you an update on a lot of questions you had.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, not really, no,
Anybody else?
All
All right, well, I appreciate you coming in for the interview round. Again, we are going to interview a couple more people next Monday.
Absolutely.
And then,
If you have any questions or feedback, feel free to reach out to me, you know what I mean? I was all over the place, but I just have to understand that, if I was to get this position, I'd be very focused, and I would represent the town of Clarksburg in the right way, so.
yeah, you would. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, Ron, because you were a previous employer or whatever, Rochelle sent that and was wondering if you would just
Just
sign
like the
that.
application process.
It's just,
right here, at the top?
yeah.
Sure, appreciate it. Good seeing you. Good to see you. Tell your office as well.
I will. All right, next, are there any public comments?
I'm leaving you, public comment.
All right, hearing none, I'm not sure if there's any minutes for us to review, and I know there are some warrants for us to sign, so we'll get those. So, I'd like a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
All in favor? I adjourn the meeting at 5:43.